Welcome to another episode of Rod Goes Vlog. Today is Monday, the 9th of September 2024. And in this episode, I want to discuss about work life and two aspects. The first one is status updates, daily stand-ups. Do we need it? Should we do them? And the second one is the importance of having credibility at work and being careful of not losing this credibility and the consequences of losing it. So, let's get started. Daily stand-ups and updates at work. This is something that a professional must ask themselves always. How do I keep my team updated? How do I keep my line manager up to date and so on? And here there is a bit of a clash between, on one side, of course, not being micromanaged or not having the feeling that one needs to daily report what's up to, but also at the same time to create visibility across departments, functions, and peers of what one is doing. And here, there is definitely no like golden rules. And on one side, we can take the perspective of saying it's a bad idea because this only creates the impression that one does not have really freedom at work and so on. But on the other side, it can be also the perspective of daily updates is a good thing because this way I can show not only what I'm doing, but also advocate for my work. In the end, we also have to sell ourselves and our projects. It's not enough just to do something, but we have to talk about it. We have to do good things and talk about them. And the daily stand-ups as a format can be something that we can embrace about that. This is definitely something that makes a lot of sense. So what can be like a format for this? Well, ideally, the daily stand-up as an update doesn't even need to be an actual meeting. It can just be a message that one sends either at the beginning of the day or at the end of the day, sharing what one has done or one plans to do. But here the key is just stay on point. Do not be too specific or also not too detailed, because this is something that should be like a daily update. So we should not be here spending a lot of time crafting detailed answers, crafting complete reports and so on, but just bullet points, let's say 3 bullet points of the things that one considers that were relevant for the day to share with others. And also these bullet points as one-liners, because the more detail we provide, also this makes it even harder for those who are not up to date on the specific report on the specific topic to follow. It means that it becomes a bit of a vicious cycle where I need to give more details to explain the details. And then who wants to read like half a page of updates and so on? Nobody has the time, nobody has really the interest in doing this. So 3 bullet points and as one-liners, nothing more. And once we have that, then it's all like sharing with as much people as possible. This also has another benefit in create some way to have backup for one's actions and decisions, where this way is documented, it has been agreed by the team, by the management and so on. And then if later, for example, someone says, hey, but we never discussed this, or this is not what we said and so on, we can always refer to the daily update and say, hey, this is where we made this update. You never said anything about that, or you approved it. Look at this. Here is the confirmation. So always having evidence and traces that can help later to protect oneself, to cover oneself, and also to support decisions that happened is super important. And the second point about credibility in the workplace and what happens when one loses it. Everyone starts in a new job with, let's say, like a credibility account. Let's call it one has 100 points or 10 points. And this credibility can, of course, increase or stay stable, where if one is doing a good job, if one is reliable, if one is having this visibility and being seen as a trusted peer, then this credibility increases. One becomes more trusted. Also, as a result, one can grow in the organization and so on. But the other thing can happen. And unfortunately, so that creating trust takes always much longer, is much more difficult, and is harder to achieve than destroying it. This can happen fairly fast and is very hard to recover from that. Once we do not have trust in our organization, then it's almost like game over. Almost we have to start looking for new opportunities or assume that potentially we might be told to look for new places elsewhere. And I have seen this happen many times. And not only that, but also I have seen this that as a result of losing trust, we do not get access to new topics, to new projects, and so on. And let's be specific. So, how can this happen? So, for example, let's say that we commit to a specific date, a deadline, a release date, and so on, and this doesn't happen. Well, maybe the first time one can understand, there can be always circumstances and so on. But if after a couple times it's always the same, then they destroy trust. Another thing that destroys trust is not being able to fully define scope of things. Saying, oh, it is very easy, but turns out to be very hard. So not being able to assess how challenging something is a sign that the person is really either not competent or not very experienced, or potentially both. So this also diminishes trust into the expert, into the professional. And then the other reason how trust can be eroded, and it's connected also to our first point today, it is not communicating enough. Communicating too much is maybe also problematic, but let's say not communicating at all. This also creates questions. People do not know what this person up to. People do not really understand what is happening, and more so in this day and age where we live in remote work, hybrid, and so on. So we're not always everyone sitting in the same room together, but maybe the colleague is at home and the other person is on holidays and the person is in another country and so on. So communication and having trust becomes essential. But if I'm not communicating, if I'm not reacting, for example, someone is trying to reach, and I never respond back, or I take many hours, then questions start to be asked, saying, hey, where is this person? Is this person even working? What's going on? And so on. So, summarizing. Updates, daily updates, yes, but try to, let's say, spend less than 5 minutes crafting these updates. Just 3 points as one-liners, bullet points, fast and to the point. And trust, essential. There are no hard rules how to create it, but it's fairly easy to lose it. So do not lose it, be very careful about it. And this is everything for today. Remember, if you have comments, like, subscribe, tell which topics do you find more interesting, what we should discuss deeper, and also, as usual, let's connect tomorrow for another episode of Rod Goes Vlog. Until next time.